Do you ever struggle coming up with new ideas and you think, oh, I'm just not the type of person that can come up with good ideas consistently? Maybe you look at a friend or a coworker and they're constantly coming up with things and you're thinking, why can't I do that? Well, today I want to let you in on a little secret. These geniuses we see, it's often one thing in disguise. So in this video, you're going to learn what that one thing is that you need to be successful and come up with great ideas. 2, a system that you can put in place to make coming up with ideas not something that you do in the shower once a week, but something that you can do consistently every single day. And 3, I will leave you today with a challenge of 10 daily prompts that you can use to come up with a new idea every single day. My name is Catherine Lavery. I'm co-founder of Best Self Co, and my goal with Little Might is to share productivity, leadership, and business ideas to empower creators to change the world. Firstly, let me share a story that I recently read in this book called Atomic Habits by James Clear. So this story is about a university professor in Florida who taught a film photography class. Now, at the beginning of the semester, he decided to split his class into 2 groups, Group A and Group B. Group A was on the right side of the room and Group B was on the left side of the room. And they were going to be graded at the end of the semester completely differently. Group A were going to be graded solely on the quantity of work that they submitted. Group B would be graded solely on the quality of the image. So they could only submit one thing, but because they only had to submit one thing, it had to be almost perfect. Now, you might be surprised to learn, but the group that did better, that produced better quality images, were Group A, and this was the quantity group, not the quality group. And he realized that the reason for this was because these were the people that knew that they had to be constantly creating, they had to create something every day, so that they were experimenting with exposure, with different objects, with lighting, all of this stuff. They were trying to constantly create things, and because they were constantly creating, they were getting better at their craft. Now, Group B, who were the perfectionists, these were the people that had to just submit one image, and because of that, they spent all the time talking about how they made the perfect image, what was possible, and not actually practicing and getting better at their craft. And that's the thing that I've learned. Perfectionism is procrastination. For example, when I started creating this YouTube video, I was like, oh, I have to get the perfect camera and I have to do the graphics and the editing, and if it's not perfect, then I shouldn't put it out there. When I talked to people, they were like, you just have to go and you just have to start and then you'll get better as you go. But if you keep trying to make everything perfect, then you are not going to learn what works, what doesn't work, and you're just not going to get any better. So the one thing that I've always found and was clear in this story is persistence is the difference between getting better at something and trying to be perfect. Now, I know you're thinking, okay, Catherine, that's a great story, but what does this have to do with coming up with great ideas? And that's the thing. We need a system for our ideas. The best way I find to do this is to stop waiting around for inspiration to strike, but to sit down and make it happen through, wait for it, a daily brain workout. Think about it like this. When we work out our bodies, it doesn't start to change, it doesn't start to look better until we break a sweat. And I want us to do the same thing with our brain, with a daily brain workout. Now, I learned about this process of becoming an idea machine from James Altucher's book, which is called Choose Yourself. This book is great because it teaches you a system which I read about and then decided to implement for myself. You might be sitting here wondering, why do I even want to have to come up with ideas? Why can't I just continue how I am? And if you think about it like this, everything around us, every book on this shelf, everything that we touch, all started from a single idea that somebody had. And for me personally, every business that I've had started with a single idea that went on to create an impact, and that might be why you're watching this video right now. So that's the power of a single idea. How about 10 ideas? How about 10 ideas every single day? That would be 3,650 ideas a year. Now, the point of this is, I didn't say great ideas or even good ideas, I just said ideas. And this goes back to the story that I mentioned before at the start of this video with the two groups in the classes. This is about not trying to be perfect, not trying to sit there thinking of the perfect great idea, because it's likely not going to happen. But if we keep repeating and coming up with a number of ideas, the chances that we'll find a good one or even a great one is greatly increased. And I'm not going to lie, it's going to be difficult. Like sitting down and trying to come up with 10 ideas, it's hard. But it's kind of like if you've never been to the gym before and you go and get on a treadmill. You're going to sweat and it's going to be difficult. But then if you keep going every single day, it gets easier and you get fitter. That's what we want to do with this ideation system, where we sit down the first day and the second day and the third day. It's going to be a struggle. It's going to be hard. Eventually it gets easier, and then throughout the days, we start coming up with ideas that we didn't even know we could. Just because our brain is more wired to start thinking more creatively. Now you see the value in ideas, we have to come up with the system to actually do it. So once I started seeing the value in doing this, I was like, okay, how do I start? And so the first day I sat down and I'm staring at a blank piece of paper and I'm like, I don't even know where to start because my brain's just going everywhere. And so what I started to do is to create prompts for myself. So a question that would spark a curiosity, that would get me thinking about what's possible. And that beat the fear of the blank page. So it's things like, what problem would I pay $100 to solve? Or what businesses could I start for under $50? Or what industries need to be disrupted? Or what jobs aren't going to exist 50 years from now? I just started spewing out a bunch of questions that would make me think differently, so that in the morning when I sat down to do this system, I wasn't just staring at a blank page and hoping for the best, but I had some sort of system to sort of poke some curiosities and get my brain working. Over time, as I did this, we actually developed a fully fledged product for it for Best Self called the Edison Deck, which was an everyday carry for ideas. So every single day there's a prompt on a card, and the whole point of that is to sit down and write 10 ideas based on the prompt. And that actually, it's funny because this idea system of creating an idea created this product, and it's actually created other products for both Best Self and outside of Best Self since. It's created ideas for this channel, and it just gave me a lot more content, a lot more, a system for creativity rather than just sitting around hoping that things are going to show up. These prompt cards were designed specifically to stimulate your brain and get away of the fear of the blank page. It's also helpful because a lot of the times when we're like, okay, I need to think up of an idea, we're thinking in the box of our business or our work or whatever that looks like. And by doing this, we're coming up with ideas. Maybe it's not just work or business, or it might be a relationship. What are 10 ways that I can surprise my partner this month? So the purpose of this is not just to come up with ideas based on one topic, but you don't know where these are going to lead. Again, you're going to come up with a bunch of bad ideas, but there might be a great one in there that changes the entire trajectory of your life. Here's my challenge to you. I want to get you set up with creating a 10-day challenge where you sit down for 10 to 15 minutes every single day and try to come up with 10 ideas. So if you did that for 10 days, you would potentially have 100 ideas and maybe one of them will be good. If you're interested in getting involved in this challenge, drop a comment below and I will put a link in there. It's completely free. I just want you to get set up for the first 10 days with potentially coming up with something good and just working out that brain muscle so that you can get better and better with your ideas. Hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this year is the year you come up with a great idea that changes your world, and I will see you on the next video.